everybody at Ottawa. Bienvenue, Ottawa. My name is Tom Sito. I'm an animator and director, and worked in Canada for a number of years, and worked in LA and New York and London, and done a lot of work for Disney's and Warner Brothers and all the various studios. And I'm currently directing a TV series for PBS. You might also know me that I've written a book called Drawing the Line, which is a story about the history of the animation labor movement in the 20th century. UPA was a very central part of that story, and a very important part. And as well as an important part of the UPA story itself is of politics and labor and struggle. UPA was born of a time in which art mattered. Art was considered to have a heavy social meaning. Things like the Mexican muralists and the other artists. It seemed like in the 30s and into the 1940s, people attached an importance to the message that art had for society. And the people who created UPA believed in this. The UPA artists didn't just feel that they were cartoonists, or didn't feel like they were animators. They felt that they were artists who made cartoons. And that's a very important distinction. A center point of my book is discussing the importance of the great Walt Disney strike of 1941, and how the strike of the Disney cartoonists against his studio was a turning point in a lot of people's careers, but a turning point in the art of animation itself. Like, trying to talk about UPA and trying to talk about trends in animation and leave that out is basically giving an incomplete picture. And UPA was a studio that was born from politics, and a studio that suffered because of politics, because it was badly ravaged by the Hollywood blacklist, the anti-communist witch hunts of 1947 to 1956. The fascinating thing about UPA was that the people who formed UPA, the artists like Dave Hilberman and Zach Schwartz, and Steve Bazustow and John Hubley, and Jules Engel, and Paul Julian, and all, were all they were all activists. They were all, I guess now you'd say left. Like, I like to say progressive. But they all had a common belief, and a belief in the mission of art to make things better in the world, and that art has a message.
This is George and Irene Fudgett, who live cozily in a vine-covered budget.
A lot of these people first rallied with Frank Tashlin at Screen Gems, doing some short films. But then there was this new little company called United Productions of America. And some of their first deals were commissioned by the United Auto Workers. And Dave Hilberman said they originally talked about first calling their studio Union Productions of America. And instead they changed to the more familiar name that we know now. One of their first commissions in 1944 was doing a film that was commissioned by a labor union called Hellbent for Election, which was a political ad. It was basically a way to sort of urge everybody to stay the course with the Roosevelt administration and re-elect Franklin Roosevelt in 1944. And Chuck Jones and a number of artists at other studios had freelanced for UPA. In fact, one of the animators told me that the original UPA studios at that time used to stay like pretty quiet and dark all day, because most of the artists were already working at other studios. They had day jobs. And then after 6 o'clock at night, the place would be buzzing. So from 6 o'clock to midnight, you know, the lights were on and everybody was working and everybody was furiously doing stuff, producing the first couple of films. And the interesting thing was, it was one of the first places where they really started to explore a new style and a new way of looking at things. I mean, a lot of the artists at that time felt an artistic exhaustion of doing the endless, you know, what they call the cat chase and the rat films. You know, it's always the same thing over and over and over again. And the same kind of style, that roundish style, you know, that which nowadays we look at in retrospect and go, wow, that was a beautiful style when they're doing Bambi and Pinocchio and all. But even Ward Kimball at one point used to refer to it as the Campbell Soup Kids. Going like, more of the same, the Campbell Soup Kids, you know. And everybody wanted to do something different. And at that time, the new trends or the new styles were things like Piet Mondrian and Kandinsky, and there was a lot of interesting stuff happening. And again, like UPA became a place where artists came together and talked about style and talked about trends, you know.
Still, I waited. while time slowed.
So that's just a little bit of UPA history in a nutshell. Of course, there's a lot more to be seen at our website, www.upapics.com. And there'll be a lot more forthcoming documentary-wise and all, if Mr. Bazustow has his way. So sit back, enjoy the show. Regards to all my friends on the Redo Canal. Have a bran muffin for me, and have some good beer, unlike the beer down here. So anyway, have fun, enjoy the show.